headlines for tonight. 1.4 million Filipinos evacuated while 2 reportedly dead due to the devastation of Super Typhoon 1.
A total of 837,000 individuals affected of Typhoon 1, says the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council.
The Weather Bureau slowly lifted wind signals to affected areas of Super Typhoon.
Ousted South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol faces new criminal charges for flying drone over North Korea.
Good evening, bringing you the latest news for tonight. I am ALVIN, PELOBELLO.
And I am KRIZZA Lopez. This is Eurotv News Thread. The details on our broadcast. The Office of the Civil Defense, or OCD, is currently validating reports of 2 fatalities and 2 injuries from Super Typhoon 1,
which displaced 1.4 million individuals across multiple regions and prompted the Philippine National Police to activate its disaster response task groups. Henry Nicolas with a report.
The Office of the Civil Defense reported 2 fatalities and 2 injured individuals following the onslaught of Super Typhoon 1 in various parts of the country. However, according to the OCD, the information is still unconfirmed and currently being validated, with 1 reported fatality from Viga and 1 from Catbalogan City, Samar. From their morning report, a total of 426,000 families, equivalent to 1.4 million individuals, were preemptively evacuated in the regions of Cordillera Administrative Region, Region 1 to 6, Mimaropa, IR7 and IR8.
The effects of the typhoon were reported in 2,700 barangays, affecting around 231,000 families. Reported doon sa Biga, Catanduanes, was due to drowning, no? The other one in Catbalogan City, Samar, nadaganan ng collapse structure.
Under the Philippine National Police, the risk reduction management task groups have been activated across all levels of the organization. PNP Acting Chief Police Lieutenant General Milencio Nartates Jr. emphasized the importance of strong coordination with local government units, national agencies, and the public to ensure everyone's safety. Nartates also directed the strict enforcement of mandatory evacuation in coastal areas, riverbanks, and places prone to flooding or landslide. He also instructed police officers to lead rescue operations and the distribution of assistance once the typhoon hits. The Chief PNP assured that the national headquarters is closely monitoring the situation and is ready to deploy additional personnel, equipment, and support if needed. He stressed that the police have long been at the forefront of disaster response, assisting in evacuations, transporting aid, and maintaining security for the affected communities. Apart from the 2 fatalities, the PNP also reported 2 other casualties in Nueva Vizcaya who were reportedly victims of landslide.
Ito po yung kasama sa landslide na nangyari sa incident kanina. But I referred it to the ILG kasi yung pag-announce ng death and missing person is the LGU is in charge, but while the PNP is also assisting and verifying the reports. So, ibinigay na po namin yung assistance and provided the reports to the DLG. So, itong incident na yan ay totoo po nangyari yan sa landslide kanina, early morning.
So, sir, it's confirmed?
Yung incident po, confirmed.
Yes, confirmed.
Police Colonel Esmeraldo Osia Jr. stated that the PNP remains on full alert status in several areas across the country to assist those affected by the typhoon. Despite this, the OCD hopes that the number of casualties will not increase following their appeal to the public for immediate evacuation in the areas affected by the typhoon. Meanwhile, President Bongbong Marcos Jr. reportedly directed his focus toward relief operations and monitoring of the needs of the LGUs as well as the assessment of the typhoon's damage.
Is that we should be able, lahat tayo, kami sa NDRMC, we should maintain our readiness for the typhoon season, no? Kasi hanggang December pa ito.
This is Henry Nicolas for Eurotv News.
Meanwhile, following the widespread devastation of Super Typhoon 1, over 837,000 were affected as it hits a large part of the country. The authority reported over thousands of houses were damaged, amounting to 60,000 pesos. More from this report.
As Super Typhoon 1 moves away from country's landmass, it leaves behind widespread devastation, displacing thousands of residents and damaging countless properties. According to the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council, or NDRRMC, as of 6 o'clock, more than 837 individuals or 231,000 families have been affected by the typhoon. The storm impacted 8 regions, particularly regions 1 to 9, Caraga, the Cordillera Administrative Region, and the Negros Island region. Around 1.4 million people were preemptively evacuated from their homes before the typhoon's onslaught. As for the evacuation status, 6,069 evacuation centers are currently sheltering 482,614 individuals. 2 people have been reported dead pending official validation, while 2 others were injured.
Ano po kayo, sir?
Oo, one reported doon sa Biga, Catanduanes was due to drowning, no? The other one in Catbalogan City, Samar, nadaganan ng collapse structure.
Due to strong winds and heavy rainfall, 149 areas in Region 5, 6, 9, and 10 and Caraga region experienced widespread flooding. An estimated 1,000 houses were damaged, with losses valued at around 60,000 pesos. Several roads and bridges remain impassable due to the flooding and debris. A total of 170 towns and municipalities lost electric power, with only 15 areas having been restored so far. Likewise, 15 towns and municipalities experienced water supply interruptions, with 2 areas having their supply restored. Meanwhile, on Monday, the SWD Secretary Rex Gatchalian reported that the department has already distributed 6.4 million pesos worth of aid to victims of Super Typhoon 1. Secretary Gatchalian assured that the agency remains focused on delivering assistance and helping affected families recover. This is KRIZZA Lopez for Eurotv News.
The Philippine Coast Guard recovered debris bearing Chinese markings suspected to be from a Long March 7A rocket launched by Beijing on November 3 after it washed ashore in Burgos, Ilocos Norte amid the onslaught of Typhoon Uwan. Here's the details.
The Philippine Coast Guard recovered debris with Chinese markings that allegedly came from a rocket off the coast of Burgos in Ilocos Norte on Sunday. In a PCG report, the Coast Guard substation Burgos recovered the debris while conducting a patrol during the onslaught of the Typhoon Uwan. The mobile patrol was part of the reminder to the Filipino fishermen that fishing is prohibited due to bad weather conditions. When the PCG personnel spotted the debris washed up on the coastal area of Barangay Sawit. It was around 9:30 in the morning when the PCG personnel discovered the debris and immediately notified the Municipal Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Office for the recovery of the debris. Authorities immediately warned the local fishermen and residents to stay away from the suspected rocket debris while the PCG is still conducting an assessment and validations. November 3, when the Philippine Space Agency, or PhilSA, warned the public, particularly in northern Luzon, about the possible debris from a rocket launched by China. Beijing launched the Long March 7A rocket from the Wenxiang Space Launch Site in Hainan at around 11 in the morning on November 3. Among the PhilSA warnings, there was the possibility of falling debris from the rocket launched by China near the coastal areas of the Lapuri Island in Cagayan, Burgos in Ilocos Norte, as well as in Camiguin Norte and Santa Ana, Cagayan. Meanwhile, the PhilSA confirmed again the launch of the People's Republic of China's Long March 12 rocket at around 10 a.m. this Monday. Its debris is expected to fall in the waters surrounding Puerto Princesa, Palawan. This is ALVIN PELOBELLO for Eurotv News.
The Civil Aviation Authority of the Philippines, or CAAP, has announced the resume of air flight after Super Typhoon Uwan left the Philippine landmass. More from Vanessa Cleofas.
The Civil Aviation Authority of the Philippines, or CAAP, announced that several airports under its jurisdiction have returned to normal operations following the impact of Typhoon Uwan in various areas. Among these are Bicol International Airport, Masbate Airport, Naga, Virac, Daet, and Kawayan Airport, where the notice to airmen has already been lifted. According to CAAP, most of the airports they inspected did not sustain major damage from Super Typhoon Uwan. Damage was reportedly limited to ceiling, roof, glass panels, and perimeter fences. Baguio Airport has also reopened, although visual flight rules remain suspended due to poor visibility caused by heavy rainfall. Meanwhile, operations at Lingayen Airport, Basco, Itbayat, Sangley, Plaridel, Iba, Subic, Lubang, Bacon, and Bululan Airport remain suspended. Repairs of damaged facilities and equipment as well as the restoration of services at all CAAP damaged airports are ongoing in accordance with directives from President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. and Acting Transportation Secretary Giovanni Lopez. CAAP encouraged the public to monitor their announcement to avoid confusion. This is Vanessa Cleofas for Eurotv News.
Amid calamity situations, the government underscored the importance of keeping the communication line open and stable. With this, the Department of Information and Communications Technology, or DICT, ramps up its effort to restore telecommunications services across the country as quickly as possible after Typhoon Uwan's rage. As of the morning of November 10, DICT reported 74% service restoration from Smart Network, 71% on Dito, 64% on coverage services, while 54% in Globe. Telecommunication services across Metro Manila have also been restored back to normal. Meanwhile, electric power in some areas within the Northern Luzon and Bicol region remains under restoration due to damaged fiber lines. Amid this, DICT pledged 24/7 restoration works among telecommunications service providers to be able to restore communication and connection services across the country within the next 24 to 48 hours.
Meanwhile, the Department of Budget and Management has approved the release of 1.684 billion pesos to replenish the Quick Response Funds, or QRF, of the Department of Agriculture, Department of Social Welfare and Development, and the Philippine Coast Guard. The move follows President Ferdinand Marcos Jr.'s directive to accelerate recovery and rehabilitation efforts in areas affected by recent calamities. Of the total amount, 1 billion pesos will go to the Department of Agriculture to boost agricultural recovery programs in regions hit by the African swine fever and recent typhoons, including the possible impact of Super Typhoon Uwan. DBM Secretary Amena Pangandaman said the replenishment ensures immediate support for farmers and fisher folks heavily affected by disasters. Meanwhile, 631 million pesos was allocated to the DSWD for food packs, non-food items, emergency cash transfers, and logistics support for families affected by calamities across several provinces. The PCG also received 53 million pesos to sustain its relief, rehabilitation, and search and rescue operations during disasters. Secretary Pangandaman emphasized that the government remains committed to providing timely and continuous support to Filipinos impacted by natural calamities.
The Manila Electric Company, or Meralco, reported that the number of customers still without power has dropped to over 197,000 following Super Typhoon Uwan, with Cavite and Bulacan currently worst hit areas due to drowned posts and flood-related hazards. Vanessa Cleofas returns.
The Manila Electric Company or Meralco reported that the number of their customers currently experiencing a power outage has dropped to 197,000 following the passage of Super Typhoon Uwan across a large part of the country. This is down from the initial report yesterday when 400,000 customers were affected. According to Meralco, Cavite and Bulacan are currently the most affected areas experiencing delays in power supply caused by the typhoon. They are followed by Quezon, Rizal, Laguna, and Batangas. In Metro Manila, the remaining affected areas are reported to be Parañaque, Caloocan, Valenzuela, Quezon City, and Marikina. Around 10,000 of the total affected customers are in areas that were flooded. Meralco spokesperson and head of corporate communications Joe Saldariaga said that the majority of the reported services interruption were caused by fallen posts and power lines affected by the strong winds and heavy rains brought by the Typhoon Uwan. Nevertheless, Meralco remains on full alert to restore electricity supply in the affected areas as quickly as possible.
We have been aggressively restoring back power to these affected areas. So we hopefully in the next couple of days makompleto na namin yung restoration.
Meralco appealed to their customers living in areas still experiencing flooding to wait until the repairs on the power post and lines are completed before restoring electricity which has been temporarily cut due to the potential danger it may pose.
Ito, nandoon na kami sa patapos na restoration efforts. No, pakiusap ko lang, lalo dun sa mga may baha pa, hindi ho namin agad kasi pwedeng ibalik yan hanggat mapanganib. No? Dalawa yung kino-consider namin kailangan siguro, masiguro namin yung safety, yung mga customers namin, at saka syempre yung mga line personnel namin. But rest assured, tuloy-tuloy ho yung trabaho ng Meralco, 24/7 naman po kami, round the clock. So sa tingin ko, makokompleto namin to within the next 2 days. Siguro mahaba na yung 3 araw.
Meanwhile, Meralco reminded the public not to believe the fake news circulating online. They also clarified that there are no system-wide power cuts being implemented or planned. Before carrying out any power line disconnections due to the potential hazards, they first coordinate with the local government that has jurisdiction over the affected area. This is Vanessa Cleofas for Eurotv News.
Following the collapse of a portion of the Nabotas coastal dike due to a strong storm surge from Typhoon Uwan, the Department of Public Works and Highways or DPWH inspected the damage and vowed to complete the unfinished sections to ensure continuous flood protection for residents. Catherine Landicho tells us more.
Department of Public Works and Highways or DPWH Secretary Vince Dizon inspected the Nabotas coastal dike after it sustained damage from the strong storm surge brought by Typhoon Uwan. Secretary Dizon assured that the DPWH will complete the repair and rehabilitations of the said dike to maintain protections for residents against flooding and strong waves. It was found that some sections of the coastal dike remain unfinished. Because of this, the Secretary instructed the district engineer to list and assess the deficiencies so that necessary funding can be allocated and the entire project can be completed.
By Pangulo, na pondohan na, no, with funds remaining for 2025, ma-start na ito at matapos na natin bago mag-tag-ugan ulit next year.
Due to the impact of Super Typhoon Uwan, a portion of the dike in Bagong Bayan, South Navotas City collapsed following heavy rains and strong winds. As a result, several streets and homes in the city were flooded while rescue and monitoring operations by authorities continue. Officials estimated that waves as high as 2-story buildings struck that dike around midnight, causing its destruction. This is Catherine Landicho for Eurotv News.
The State Weather Bureau, Pag-asa, has lifted tropical cyclone wind signal number 5 over areas hardly hit by Typhoon Uwan, though signal number 2 remains in effect over the northern portion of Luzon. Here's the details.
The State Weather Bureau Pag-asa has started lifting wind signals in areas previously affected by Typhoon Uwan on Sunday. According to its latest advisory, signal number 2 remains the highest storm signal still hoisted over parts of Luzon. Under signal number 2 are the provinces of Batanes, Cagayan, including the Babuyan Islands, northwestern Isabela, Apayao, Abra, Kalinga, Mountain Province, Ifugao, Benguet, Ilocos Norte, Ilocos Sur, La Union, and the western and central portions of Pangasinan and the northern part of Zambales. Meanwhile, signal number 2 remains in effect over the rest of Isabela, Quirino, Nueva Vizcaya, the remaining parts of Pangasinan, Aurora, Nueva Ecija, Zambales, Bataan, Tarlac, Pampanga, Bulacan, Metro Manila, Cavite, Laguna, Batangas, Rizal, Quezon including Fulilo Islands, Occidental and Oriental Mindoro including Lubang Islands, Marinduque, Calamian Islands, Camarines Norte and the northwestern section of Camarines Sur. Pag-asa said that while the typhoon continues to move away from land, strong winds and heavy rains may still be experienced in areas under signal number 1 and 2 due to the storm's large size. As of the latest bulletin, Typhoon Uwan was last located 175 kilometers west of Sinaig, Ilocos Sur, packing maximum sustained winds of 120 km per hour and gustiness of up to 150 kilometers per hour. Based on Pag-asa's forecast track, Uwan is expected to exit the Philippine area of responsibility either late Monday or Tuesday, moving northwestward toward the southwestern waters of Taiwan. The typhoon may slightly re-intensify as it nears Taiwan before weakening again after making landfall. Pag-asa added that Uwan could re-enter PAR by Thursday, but only its trough or tail end will affect the Philippines by then. Typhoon Uwan made landfall in Dinalungan, Aurora at 9:10 p.m. Sunday as super typhoon and weakened to typhoon category around 11 o'clock p.m. This is KRIZZA Lopez for Eurotv News.
Another case has been filed against impeached former South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol due to his alleged order to launch a drone over North Korean territory. Graciela Corazon has more.
Impeached South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol is now facing a new criminal charges in connection with his alleged flying a drone over North Korea to create tension and justify his declaration of martial law on December 3, 2024. After former President Yoon was impeached, he was replaced by Lee Jae-myung as a new president of South Korea, where he appointed an independent investigation to investigate his declaration of martial law and other alleged corruption involving his administration and his wife. According to the report, Yoon allegedly ordered the sending of spy drones to North Korea to create a tension between the two countries. Yoon and two other defense officials, former Defense Minister Kim Yong-hun and former Military Intelligence Chief Yo In-yong, was charged with aiding the enemy and abused the power. Prosecutor spokesperson Park Jin-yong also highlighted evidence found on military officers' cell phones that related to potential provocations against the North, such as drone and surgical strike. North Korea has accused Seoul of flying drones over Pyongyang to drop anti-North Korean leaflets in October 2024. South Korean Defense Minister Kim initially denied the allegations. However, the country's military later said it could not confirm whether Pyongyang's statement was true or not. The issue has led to high tensions between the two countries. Impeached President Yoon Suk-yeol is currently in prison and remains on trial for declaring martial law and other violations related in his administration. This is Graciela Corazon for Eurotv News.
In our sports news, the defending champion Oklahoma City Thunder continued their NBA dominance after defeating the Memphis Grizzlies with 114-100. Kyle Basa has the sports news.
The defending champions Oklahoma City Thunder continue to reign supreme in the NBA. Today, November 10, OKC beat the Memphis Grizzlies with the final scores of 114-100. They have shown resiliency considering they are one of the youngest teams in the league. Their gameplay was executed well in both offense and defense. Regular season and finals MVP Shea Gilgeous-Alexander leads his team to victory with his 35 points. His other teammates including Chet Holmgren, AJ Mitchell, and Isaiah Hartenstein helped the team to victory for their 21, 21, and 18 points. The Thunder has the most outstanding record in the NBA with their 10-1 standing, while the Grizzlies are now at a 4-7 record. This is Kyle Basa reporting for Eurotv News.
Thai GL star Milk Love is set to visit the Philippines for a fan event. Sam Martos has the entertainment news.
This coming January, two of most admired GL star Milk Pansa Vosbian and Love Patronite, or better known as Milk Club, will visit the country for their fan meet titled Heart Drop. This was officially announced by GMMTV on their social media accounts, along with a poster featuring two-star and details about fan meet ticket prices. It can be remembered that fans first loved the Milk Club couple in one of the Thai boy love series Bad Buddy, where their fans noticed the chemistry between the two. Meanwhile, their fan meet tickets can be purchased for 3,500 pesos up to 10,500 pesos starting November 16. The fan meet will take place on January 25, 2026. This is Sam Martos for Eurotv Showbiz News.
And that's the latest news for tonight. You may visit eurotvph.com for more news and information. Once again, I am KRIZZA Lopez.
You can also catch our live broadcast through our social media accounts and via Pinoy Stream channel. I am ALVIN PELOBELLO. Thanks for joining us. This is Eurotv News Thread. Stay safe. Have a good night, everyone. I'm burping.